So I was born middle class Maharashtrian family, um, and nothing really special about it, excepting that I was born with a birthmark. I have a little bit of a hole near the ear, and that actually came very handy because on day one or day two, an uncle of mine, Narayan Masurekar, my father's cousin, came to see my mother and to see the baby, of course. And as you know, babies are all wrapped up like this, and only the face is visible. And so, Nan Kaka, as I call him, Nan Kaka saw the hole in the ear on the day he came. And when he visited a few days later, and my mother was in a general ward, not in a special room. She was in a general ward with other mothers and with the cribs, the babies in the crib next to the mother. And so when he came a few days later, and he picked the baby up, he said, "Well, we didn't see the hole in the ear." And he said, "Well, this is not our baby." So there was a bit of commotion in the ward. Everybody is running around here and there. "What do you mean, not your baby?" The nursing staff, everybody came around, and my uncle Nan Kaka explained that, well, he's got this, our baby's got this little hole in the ear. And so they went round because put the babies, they might have got a little bit mixed up, confused, whatever. So they went around the ward and they found me in a crib next to a fisherwoman. And so they said, there it is, the hole in the ear. And so I was restored to my mother. And, I keep joking about it at various corporate events that I go to. I keep joking about it that caught fishing outside the off stump. So that little impact was there on my cricketing career. Having said that, I've got to say that at that particular point of time, cricket was not a career option. Cricket is a career option now. It's a very, very good career option now. And today, a fisherwoman's son is perfectly capable of representing India and going on to do great things because the opportunities are there. There's that much wider spectrum of availability for playing the game. There are so many more opportunities. Incentives are there. And if you're half good, you can always try to make a career in the game of cricket. My early years as a student, I was with St. Xavier's High School. And my early years as a student was nothing very special. I wasn't a brilliant student. I was an average, maybe just a little above average student to start with. And my school was about a couple of stations away from where I lived. I lived in Bhagirathi buildings near the Grant Road station, not quite near. It was a little distance. And I took a train from Grant Road station, went up to Marine Line station, and then from there we walked to the St. Xavier's High School at Dhobi Talao. St. Xavier's High School at Dhobi Talao is where I actually started playing a bit of cricket. Of course, I played in the compound of the Bhagirathi buildings. There, of course, we played tennis ball, underhand cricket. That's how it started. But as far as hardball cricket, season ball cricket, as they call it, it started at St. Xavier's High School. We didn't have great facilities. There was a quadrangle, as they said, and we had a half matting. We didn't have a full matting at that stage. And it was on the half matting that I started to play with the hard ball. And the half matting was a bit of a problem because if the ball landed on the half matting, then sometimes it would just bounce up or sometimes it would just scoot along the ground. So it was a little bit difficult, but in a way it helped. It helped your reflexes to react to the one that bounces or to quickly get down on the ball that scoots along the ground. So that way it was really a big plus, despite the fact that the practice facilities weren't great. It eventually was taken over by the municipality, and that was called the Liberty Ground because it was near the Liberty Cinema Theatre. And we practiced. That was a turf pitch. We practiced a little bit there, but that really wasn't available for too long because the Bombay Hospital's extension came down and they took over. But school was fun. School was fun, excepting, of course, you had a couple of teachers who could be strict, in terms of giving you a remark. And that was scary. That was really, really frightening. If you didn't do your studies, if you didn't do your homework, they asked for your calendar, as they said. I don't know what the situation is now. They asked for your calendar and wrote a remark that the studies were not done, the homework was not done. And then to get it signed by my father was really, I can assure you, I would prefer to play the West Indies fast bowling rather than show the calendar to my father and ask him to sign, because he would ask me lots of questions. He would not be pleased. He'd get upset. He would get angry, and so it wasn't exactly the best of experiences. And in doing something to try and avoid a remark, I think I did help my stamina a little bit, because again there was one teacher and there was a homework book which I had left behind at home when I went to school in the morning, and luckily her subject was coming, her period was coming after lunch. So at lunchtime I remembered that, and I ran all the way from that St. Xavier's High School at Dhobitala to Marine Line Station, because we only had a half an hour lunch break. Ran all the way over there, and then when I came to Grant Road Station again, ran all the way. There was a Parsi colony next to where we stayed, and I had to scale the wall to come into the compound of the Bhagirathi building, because that was a shortcut. If I had taken the other way, it would have taken me another 4 or 5 minutes of running. So I think all that actually helped me as far as my stamina was concerned, because at that stage, nobody knew what gym work was. At that stage, nobody actually told us that you need to do things like this to increase your stamina, to get the strength in your legs, to get the power in your lungs. These were things that we weren't told at that stage. Fitness wasn't a priority. What we had at that stage was generally we were told was the emphasis on cricketing skills. So if you're a batsman, then you got a little more batting in the nets. If you were a bowler, you were asked to bowl a little bit more in different conditions, different pitches, because the pitches that we had for practice were different in the sense that they would be on, say, for example, the practices were basically Monday to Friday, because on a Saturday, then you could play a game. Those days, there was a half-day game on a Saturday, a tournament maybe, half-day game on Saturday and a full-day game on Sunday. So Monday to Friday was when we practiced in the afternoons, generally in the afternoons. And so on Monday, what would happen is that there would be a lot of water on the pitch, on the net practice pitch. And that meant that the faster bowlers were that much more difficult to play. The ball would fly, the ball would seam, and there was a new ball given to the new ball bowlers. So it was quite an examination trying to cope up with that. And they're quite interesting. And then with the sun beating down, a little less of the rolling being done, when it came to Thursday and Friday, those very pitches on which we were batting and which were lively on the Monday would afford a bit of turn. So you could then learn how to play spin bowling on those kind of pitches where there was a little more turn, little more bounce, little more deliveries that maybe occasionally kept along the ground. For a batsman, that was the plus. For a bowler also, if you were a spinner, how to bowl on a wet pitch on a Monday was also a learning curve. Then again, how to bowl on a turning pitch on a Thursday, Friday, for the faster bowlers, where there were not much carry for them, that again was a learning curve. So it was quite interesting, these practice methods, and certainly it actually helped as far as your batting technique was concerned. Having said that, I have to say that I've always believed that temperament is what separates the men from the boys. Because if you don't have the temperament, you could have all the technique in the world. If you don't have the temperament, you're really going to struggle at the highest level. My progress was pretty much step by step in cricket, and by that I mean that once you did well for your school, St. Xavier's High School, then you got picked for Mumbai schools, or Bombay schools as it was called then. And then if you did well for Bombay schools, then you were picked for the West Zone schools. And, West Zone schools were was a team